Welcome, dear listener, to Sleep with Owl Stories. Tonight, you are invited to leave behind the noise of the day and step into a world where time slows, the air softens, and every sound and image is designed to calm your mind. This is your moment to settle in, breathe deeply, and let the quiet of the night guide you toward rest. In just a moment, you'll hear 6 of the most captivating and mysterious stories tales that will carry you through hidden courtyards, riverside promenades, lantern-lit passages, and gentle moonlit hills. Each story will unfold slowly, like the turning of an old page, wrapping you in comfort and quiet wonder without revealing everything all at once. So find a comfortable place to rest, let your shoulders drop, unclench your jaw, and feel the tension of the day slip away. The night is waiting, and with it, 6 journeys that promise to soothe, to surprise, and to guide you gently toward the edge of sleep. Your stories begin now. The late afternoon sun hangs low, spilling soft gold across the horizon. The air is warm but not heavy, carrying the faint scent of jasmine and freshly watered earth. You are standing at the edge of a secluded garden, a place hidden from the world by tall, ancient walls covered in ivy. The gate creaks as you step through, leaving behind the distant hum of the city. Inside, there is nothing but quiet, the kind of quiet that feels alive, full of small sounds you only notice once you slow down enough to hear them. You pause at the entrance and take a deep breath. The garden seems to breathe with you, exhaling the fragrance of roses, damp grass, and the faint musk of soil. A narrow stone path stretches out before you, flanked by hedges that look as though they have stood here for centuries. You begin to walk, your footsteps soft against the worn stones. The world narrows to this single path, to the sound of your own steady breathing, to the rhythmic chorus of crickets somewhere beyond the wall. The path leads you beneath an arch of flowering vines, their petals pale against the fading light. One drifts loose and lands in your hand, impossibly soft. You hold it for a moment before letting it float to the ground. Ahead, the garden opens into a circular clearing where a small fountain trickles, its water catching the light like shards of glass. You sit on the stone edge, feeling the coolness of the marble beneath your palms, and watch the ripples form and fade again and again. As you sit there, your mind begins to drift. The garden seems to hold memories within its walls, like a library of moments that happened long before you arrived. You can almost picture people who once walked these paths, lovers exchanging secret glances, artists sketching beneath the archways, a gardener tending to the flowers in the quiet of early morning. Their presence lingers, faint but comforting, as though they have left a piece of themselves behind for you to find. Somewhere in the distance, a bell tolls softly, marking the hour. The sound floats over the garden wall, low and resonant, and when it fades, you notice how still everything has become. Even the crickets seem to have quieted, as though listening. You lean back against the fountain's edge, your gaze lifting to the sky. The blue is deepening now, streaked with the first hints of twilight. The warm light touches the tops of the hedges, gilding them as the shadows grow longer. A breeze stirs the vines above you, scattering petals across the path. One lands on the surface of the water, and you watch it spin lazily before slipping under. For a moment, it feels as if the entire world has slowed to match its pace. You let your thoughts slow with it. Your breathing deepens, the air feels cooler now, carrying a faint hint of night. Blooming flowers. Somewhere overhead, the first stars begin to pierce the darkening sky. You rise from the fountain and follow a new path that winds deeper into the garden. The air here is cooler, shaded by tall cypress trees that rise like dark green pillars on either side. The path curves gently, leading you to a stone bench tucked beneath an arbor. You sit, feeling the roughness of the stone against your fingertips, and close your eyes. The sound of the fountain is distant now, replaced by the whisper of leaves above you. In this stillness, time seems to stretch and soften. You are not thinking of where you came from or where you will go next, only of the present moment. The bench beneath you, the garden surrounding you, the sky shifting slowly overhead. When you open your eyes again, the moon has appeared, a pale silver disk that seems to glow brighter with every passing moment. You stand and begin to walk again, unhurried, exploring the farthest corners of the garden. There are statues here, their faces worn smooth by centuries of wind and rain. One has a crack across its cheek, as though it has been smiling for too long. You brush your fingers against the cool stone, tracing the line of its features, feeling the quiet dignity it holds. Further along, you find a hidden gate half concealed by ivy. It is unlocked, and when you push it open, you step into another section of the garden, this one wilder, less manicured. The grass grows long here, and the path is broken, covered with moss. Fireflies glimmer among the tall grasses, tiny lanterns flickering in the gathering dark. You walk slowly, not wanting to disturb them, watching as they rise and fall like sparks from an unseen fire. At the very center of this wild section is a small pond, its surface dark and still, reflecting the moonlight perfectly. You kneel beside it and look into the water. Your reflection wavers, blurred by the ripples of night insects skimming across the surface. You dip your hand in, feeling the coolness spread through your fingers, and watch as the circles widen and fade. You sit there for a long time, letting the sounds of the night gather around you, the soft rustle of grass, the distant chirp of frogs, the quiet hum of the world preparing for rest. The air is cooler now, carrying the faint metallic smell of water. You draw your knees to your chest and simply sit, breathing slowly, watching the moon climb higher. When you finally rise, the garden feels different, not because it has changed, but because you have. There is a stillness within you now that matches the stillness of the place. You walk back along the mossy path, back through the ivy gate, back past the silent statues and the cypress trees. The fountain is still there, its water glinting in the moonlight. You pause one last time, running your fingers through the cool spray, and smile. As you step back through the main gate and into the night, the garden remains behind you, but its calm travels with you. The air is soft, the stars bright, and your mind is clear. Whatever waits beyond this night, you carry with you this moment, the sound of water, the scent of flowers, and the memory of a place where time slowed just enough to let you rest. The day begins with a soft glow, a pale light that spills across the sky and reflects off the still surface of the river. You stand on a stone promenade, leaning gently against the railing, watching as the water moves slowly beneath you. The air is cool and fresh, scented faintly with damp earth and wildflowers growing along the banks. It feels as though the city behind you is still asleep, its noise muted, leaving only the soft murmur of the river. You begin to walk, your footsteps echoing lightly on the wide stone path. On one side, the water flows in a wide, lazy curve. On the other, a row of tall poplar trees stands like silent sentinels, their leaves quivering in the morning breeze. The light filters through their branches, dappling the ground in gold and shadow. You slow your pace just to watch the shifting patterns. As you walk further, you pass by small benches tucked beneath the trees. One is occupied by an old man with a newspaper folded neatly in his lap. He glances up, and gives you a slow, kind nod, as though sharing the morning with you. A little farther along, you see a young woman leaning over the railing, tossing crumbs to a pair of ducks paddling below. Their movements send ripples through the water, and you pause to watch them glide in perfect, effortless circles. The promenade begins to curve, following the river's path. Ahead, the air carries the faint smell of bread and coffee from a small riverside cafe just opening for the day. Its wooden tables are still empty, the chairs lined neatly in rows. A sleepy cat is curled on one of the benches, stretching lazily as the first customers arrive. You imagine sitting here later, sipping something warm as the sun climbs higher. Continuing on, you come to a section of the promenade lined with flowering shrubs. Their blossoms spill over the low wall, filling the air with sweetness. Bees hover lazily, moving from flower to flower, and you stop for a moment to listen to the gentle hum. It is a soft, soothing sound, perfectly matched to the pace of the morning. The river widens here, revealing a small island covered in green. Its trees lean over the water as though bowing. You follow a narrow wooden bridge that leads to the island, your steps hollow on the planks. Halfway across, you stop and look down at the water. The current is stronger here, but still calm, swirling slowly around the supports of the bridge. On the island, the path is shaded by willows that dip their branches into the river. The ground is soft beneath your feet, covered in grass still damp with dew. You follow the path until it leads you to a clearing with a single wooden bench. Sitting down, you take in the view, the river on both sides, the distant rooftops just visible through the trees, and the faint sound of bells from a church tower on the far bank. Time seems to slow as you sit there. You notice the faintest ripples of fish just beneath the surface, the sound of leaves brushing against one another, and the faraway laughter of children who must be playing in the park across the water. You lean back, letting the bench take your weight, and feel the coolness of the wood through your clothes. Eventually, you rise and follow the path back toward the bridge. As you cross, the light has changed. It's warmer now, brighter, filling the promenade with new energy. The cafe tables are now occupied by a few early visitors, their quiet conversation mixing with the clink of cups and saucers. You smile as you pass, catching the rich smell of roasted coffee. Your walk continues down river, past the last row of poplars. The promenade ends in a small plaza where a stone fountain gurgles softly. You pause to dip your fingers into the cool water, letting the droplets cling to your skin. The plaza is nearly empty, but a street musician is sitting nearby, tuning a guitar. He begins to play, and the notes float across the water, soft and clear. You sit on the edge of the fountain, listening as the music fills the space. The sound blends with the river's murmur until it feels like the whole scene is a single, slow-moving song. You close your eyes, letting the warmth of the sun and the music wash over you. The world feels simple here, no rush, no hurry, just the flow of time like the current beneath the bridge. When you finally stand, you take one last look at the river before turning back toward the promenade. The trees cast long shadows now, and the breeze carries the faint sound of the guitar behind you. As you walk away, the music fades, leaving only the quiet rush of water and the sense that you have all the time in the world. The sun has shifted high into the sky by the time you find yourself on a narrow street, paved with uneven cobblestones. The buildings here are old, their plaster facades faded to shades of cream, ochre, and pale red. Some have cracks running through them, softened by time, and balconies draped with vines and tiny potted plants. The air smells faintly of warm stone and distant cooking. mingled with the cool mineral scent of shade. You notice an arched passageway, almost hidden between two houses, and decide to follow it. The narrow corridor is cool and quiet, the sound of the city falling away behind you. When you emerge on the other side, you are standing in a courtyard that feels like it belongs to another century. The space is enclosed on all sides by tall, weathered walls. Their surface is marked by climbing ivy and patches of moss. In the center stands a stone well, its rope frayed and bucket missing, as though no one has drawn water here for many years. A single tree grows nearby, its branches spreading wide and casting dappled shade over the courtyard floor. You walk to the well and place your hands on the stone rim, feeling the coolness seep into your skin. The air here feels thicker somehow, full of quiet history. You imagine this courtyard bustling with life. Long ago, children running barefoot across the stones, women filling their buckets, merchants shouting greetings from the archway. Their echoes seem to linger, just out of reach, as if the courtyard remembers them. You sit on a low stone step near the tree, leaning back against the wall. The stone is rough but grounding, and you close your eyes for a moment, letting the heat of the day soak into your skin. Overhead, a breeze stirs the branches, sending a rain of tiny petals and dry leaves drifting around you. The rustle is soft and hypnotic, like a whispered lullaby. When you open your eyes again, you notice a small wooden door in one corner, half hidden by creeping vines. It is old, its paint flaking, but when you press against it, it opens with a soft groan. Beyond it lies another passage, darker and narrower than the one you came through. You step inside and follow it until it opens into yet another courtyard. This one even quieter, as though it has been entirely forgotten. This hidden space is smaller, with a single marble bench beneath a carved archway. The stonework is intricate, its patterns worn but still beautiful leaves, flowers, and curling lines that must have been carefully chiseled by a patient hand centuries ago. You run your fingers over the carvings, feeling the faint grooves. The marble is cool and slightly rough, grounding you in this moment. At the far end of the courtyard, an old fountain sits dry, its basin cracked but still graceful. A carved face of a lion stares down from above, its mouth frozen mid-roar where water must once have poured. The silence here is complete, except for the faint cooing of a pigeon perched on the roof. You sit on the marble bench and let your imagination drift. You picture this courtyard when it was new, the fountain running, the air full of voices and footsteps. You can almost hear the splash of water, the hum of conversation, the distant chime of bells. The thought is strangely comforting, as though you are sharing a moment with all those who came before you. The sun shifts as you sit, casting long shadows across the ground. Dust motes float in the air, glowing gold where the light catches them. You stay until the courtyard feels like it is breathing with you, its quiet becoming your quiet. When you finally rise, you feel a deep sense of calm, as though some of the courtyard's stillness has settled into your own heart. You retrace your steps back through the narrow passageway, back past the old well and the shady tree. When you emerge once more into the busy street, the sound of the city feels distant, softened. You carry the memory of the courtyard with you, its quiet air, its carved stone, its reminder that time moves slowly here, and there is beauty even in forgotten places. The day is warm and calm as you begin your climb up a gentle hill just beyond the edge of town. The cobblestones give way to a dirt path lined with tall grass and wildflowers, their heads bobbing lightly in the breeze. The sound of the city falls behind you with every step, replaced by the soft rustle of leaves and the distant hum of insects basking in the afternoon light. The path curves slowly upward, leading you beneath a canopy of oak and chestnut trees. Their branches filter the sunlight into shifting patches of gold, and you feel the cool relief of shade on your skin. The air smells faintly of pine needles and warm earth. A bird calls from somewhere high above, its song clear and sweet, echoing through the stillness. You take your time, pausing now and then to look back down the slope. From here, you can see the rooftops of the town spread out below, their red tiles glowing softly in the sun. Chimneys rise like watchful sentries, and narrow streets form a twisting pattern that seems almost too intricate to trace. The view feels like a living map, familiar yet distant, as if you are looking back on a memory. The path grows steeper, and soon you find yourself on a grassy incline. The wind is stronger here, sweeping through the grass and making it sway like waves on a quiet sea. You hear the sound of bells from somewhere far away, maybe a herd of goats grazing in the distance, their gentle clinking carried to you by the breeze. At the top of the hill, you discover a wide plateau with a single wooden bench facing the horizon. You sit down, catching your breath, and take in the view. Beyond the hill lies a patchwork of fields and orchards, the green stretching as far as you can see. The sky seems wider here, impossibly blue, with clouds drifting lazily like sails across an endless ocean. For a while, you simply sit and let the wind wash over you. It carries the scent of flowers, grass, and the faint tang of distant rain. The air feels alive, cool and invigorating, brushing gently against your face. You close your eyes, letting your thoughts settle until all that remains is the sound of the wind and the slow rhythm of your breathing. Nearby, a narrow trail leads away from the bench and deeper into the trees. You follow it, your footsteps soft on the packed earth. The light grows dimmer beneath the canopy, and the air is cooler here, rich with the scent of moss and bark. A small brook runs alongside the path, its water sparkling in the dappled light. You kneel to dip your fingers in, feeling the chill seep into your skin, and watch as the ripples spread outward. The path ends at a small clearing where wildflowers grow in thick clusters. Butterflies flit from bloom to bloom, their wings catching the light. You lie back in the grass, staring up at the sky through the gap in the trees. The clouds move slowly, changing shape as they go, a drifting parade that feels almost dreamlike. As the sun begins to dip, the air turns softer, cooler, and the light takes on a golden hue. The hill feels completely at peace, as though it is holding its breath for evening. You rise slowly and make your way back toward the bench, pausing one last time to look at the view. The fields are bathed in warm light now, the colors deepening as shadows stretch across the land. You sit again, this time lingering longer. The wind is quieter now, but still present, brushing against you gently as if to remind you that it is always here, always moving, always reshaping the grass and the sky. When you finally stand and begin the slow walk down the hill, you carry with you the memory of the quiet winds and the stillness they left behind in your mind. The streets are quiet now. The last trace is of daylight fading into a soft bluish dusk. You walk slowly through a narrow alley lined with shuttered shops, their windows dark and reflective like pools of glass. The air smells faintly of old wood and faint candle smoke from somewhere nearby. Each footstep echoes gently against the stone walls, and you feel as though you are the only one left awake in this part of town. At the end of the alley, you notice a doorway partially hidden behind a tangle of climbing ivy. A single lantern hangs above it, its warm glow spilling across the cobblestones. The door is slightly ajar, as though waiting for someone to find it. You step closer and push it open, revealing a passageway lit by a row of lanterns mounted on the walls. The passage is long and cool, its floor made of worn flagstones that shine faintly in the light. The lanterns flicker gently, casting shifting shadows that dance along the walls. The air here feels different, quieter, but also expectant, as though the space is alive with memory. You walk slowly, your footsteps softened by the hush that fills the corridor. Halfway down, you notice alcoves set into the wall, each holding a small object: an old clay pot, a fragment of sculpture, a brass bell dulled by time. You pause at each one, imagining the hands that once placed them here, the stories they might tell if they could speak. One alcove holds a book with a cracked leather cover, its pages yellowed with age. You trace a finger along the spine before moving on, leaving it in its resting place. The passage curves slightly, and soon you hear the faint trickle of water. Following the sound, you emerge into a small courtyard bathed in lantern light. A fountain stands at its center, the water catching the glow and scattering it into tiny shards of gold. Benches line the edges of the space, and vines climb high on the walls, their leaves rustling softly in the evening breeze. You sit on one of the benches, letting the cool stones support you as you watch the fountain. The trickling sound is soothing, steady, and rhythmic, as though it has been flowing this way for centuries. You lean back, your gaze lifting to the sky above. The courtyard is open to the night, and the first stars are beginning to appear, their light faint but steady. As you sit there, you notice more details: the carvings on the fountain's edge, worn smooth by countless hands, the pattern of the stones beneath your feet, arranged in a careful mosaic. Each piece feels deliberate, as though the space was designed for moments exactly like this, for someone to sit quietly, breathe deeply, and simply be. You rise and explore further. A narrow staircase winds up one corner of the courtyard, its steps lit by more lanterns. You climb slowly, your hand brushing the cool stone wall as you ascend. At the top, you find a small balcony overlooking the courtyard below. The view is peaceful, the fountain glimmering like a jewel in its pool of light. The night has deepened now, and the air is cooler, carrying the faint scent of blooming jasmine. You linger on the balcony, listening to the soft sounds of the courtyard, the water, the breeze, the occasional distant chirp of a night bird. It feels like a hidden world, untouched and secret, existing only for those who find their way here. When you finally descend the stairs and return to the passageway, the lanterns seem to glow even more warmly, guiding you back toward the door. You step out into the alley, where the sky is now scattered with stars, and the moon casts a silver sheen over the rooftops. The door closes softly behind you, leaving only the faint glow of the lantern above it, as if to say that the place will be waiting whenever you choose to return. You walk away slowly, carrying with you the memory of the lantern, lit passage, and the quiet courtyard, a secret place tucked into the heart of the city, where time seemed to pause just long enough for you to feel completely at peace. The night has fully settled over the city, and the streets are bathed in the soft glow of lamplight. You wander down a quiet lane where the air smells faintly of wood smoke and warm bread. The houses are close together here, their windows framed by shutters painted in faded greens and blues. Some are dark, but others glow softly, casting golden rectangles of light onto the cobblestones below. You slow your pace, drawn toward one particular house where a window on the second floor stands open. Curtains stir gently in the night breeze, and the warm glow inside spills across the street like a welcome. You pause for a moment, not out of intrusion but curiosity, letting the scene unfold like a small play performed just for you. Inside, you glimpse a kitchen table set for a simple meal. A loaf of bread, a dish of olives, a carafe of water catching the light. A woman moves about slowly, her steps unhurried as she slices. Is the bread and arrange? Is it on a wooden plate? Her movements are quiet and precise, as though this is a ritual she has performed many nights before. A man appears, carrying a small clay pot that he sets carefully on the table. He leans to light a single candle, its flame flickering before settling into a steady glow. The two sit across from each other and begin to eat, their conversation low and soothing, like the murmur of a distant stream. You cannot hear their words, but the tone is warm, full of quiet companionship. From somewhere deeper in the house, a child's laugh rings out soft and brief, followed by the padding of small footsteps. The child appears in the doorway, holding a worn stuffed toy, which she proudly shows to her parents. They smile, and the man lifts her gently onto his knee. For a moment, the three sit together in a perfect stillness, broken only by the occasional clink of cutlery and the hum of the night outside. You stand quietly, taking in the glow of the room, the warmth it seems to radiate even across the street. There is something deeply comforting about witnessing this simple moment of life continuing, unchanged, as it must have for generations in homes like these. After a while, you move on, your footsteps soft on the cobblestones. More windows glow around you now, some with bookshelves visible, others with potted plants silhouetted against the light. Somewhere, a radio plays a slow, gentle tune, its melody winding through the night air like smoke. You follow the sound until you reach a small square, where an old man sits outside on a stool, humming along to the music as he mends a fishing net. He nods in greeting as you pass, his hands still working skillfully, the net draped across his lap. Beyond him, a cat lies curled on the steps of a doorway, opening one eye lazily before settling back into its dream. You pause in the square for a moment, letting the peace of the scene sink in. The night feels soft here, as if wrapped in a blanket of gold and shadow. The windows seem to watch over the streets, keeping them safe and warm. When you finally turn back toward the lane, the house with the golden window is still visible in the distance. The family has finished their meal now, and the woman is blowing out the candle, leaving the room lit only by the glow of a small lamp. You take one last look before continuing on, carrying with you the warmth of that quiet domestic ritual, a reminder that even in the heart of the city, life moves gently, peacefully, with light, always waiting behind the windows.